television shows for close to 30 years now, starting with Hive as a kid, and then doing extra work in Mahogany, and then a solo story with Denzel later on. And through the years, I've done all kinds of things. I did my first web series 2 years ago, Diary of a Single Mom. For those of you that have not seen it, it stars Monica Calhoun, Billy D. Williams, Richard Roundtree, Diane Carroll. In the Hive is based on a true story. The film you're going to see tonight, for those of you that can make it. It's a powerful film. I did the news today, doing the interview, and they were talking about the little boy that was shot here on the north side. And part of what you'll see in the film is about how do we reach out to these kids, how do we turn them around, because it's a problem that happens all around America. So people say, well, why did you pick this story in particular? Because a lot of these kids are lost, but they still can be saved. So part of the film is about how do we turn things around, how do we make it work. So I'm glad to be here, and I want to thank you again, Wes, for bringing me here. Drop in, drop out. I thank you for your organization and being a part of this. I'd like to open up for any questions anybody would have for me, today, in terms of the film or my body of work or my philosophy in terms of work. Yes?
Why did you choose to do the screening in the neighborhood at a very well-known community center in the middle of South Minneapolis, rather than taking it like most people do when they come in to do special screenings to a mainstream movie outlet?
Well, part of it was really Wes's idea to bring it there, but I have to say this, because I grew up in the hood and I'm a boy from Chicago, west side of Chicago, I think it's important for the neighborhoods to see, people that are successful to come back. And I think it sends a message, because a lot of times these neighborhoods are looked over. And for me, I grew up there. So if the film can be a catalyst for change, if my presence can be a catalyst, so that the kids that are in the audience, the parents, the teachers can say, if he can make it, I can make it. And, hopefully it'll open great discussion. And I think it's important for the neighborhood because it sends a message. Other questions?
Like that? There's one single thing that you want people to come away with after seeing the film, what would be that?
Is there one single thing that I want people to come away with after the film? That if we all work together, we can make a difference. I think when people watch the film, you'll get it from the kids' point of view, because a lot of kids, it was parents raising parents. So you had mothers that didn't know how to be mothers, fathers that weren't there in the house, and then the kids got to deal with certain things, and then their family becomes the gangbangers. So on one level, we're going to be dealing with that. On another level, it's the teachers, because some teachers look at these kids, like Trayvon Martin had a hood over his head, and then all of a sudden, that became a dress code to say he's menacing, he's dangerous. I got to meet Trayvon's mother and father, and I talked to them, I looked them in their eye, because a lot of people say they're doing it for the money and blah, 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 blah. And I sat with them, I talked to their attorneys and everything, and they said, Robert, our son is a good kid. He was just walking home. The man talked crazy to him from what we've heard. And, we taught our son, if somebody disrespects you, you're gonna talk back. You're not gonna let anybody punk you. And so they just want justice. You know what I mean? And so we're at a time in history where we've got to figure out, if you've got youth that are out there and they don't know what to do, how do we bring them all in? So when people watch the movie, it speaks to the parents, it speaks to the teachers, it speaks to the kids. And it's going to, like I said, we talked yesterday, I think it's going to open up a lot of conversation, because when it's all said and done, everybody in this room is affected by media. You may say, well, Robert, it's just a show. No, there was a time when you watched movies and television, it reinforced values and morals. Now we have anti-shows on television where it celebrates the worst element in people. With these reality shows, people spitting on each other, fighting, and it's like Jerry Springer to the ninth power. So for me, it's about counter-programming. It's like, how do we create images that reinforce what the church is doing, reinforce what the parents are doing, reinforce what the teachers are doing. So that's what the movie is about. So I think it'll open the dialogue, but hopefully it'll make gangbangers look again. In the Hive is probably my most edgy film because of the language. It's rated R, but it's for the kids on the level because I really want to speak to them.
Just to follow up, you talked about earlier about coming back to hood.
Right.
Do other actors, I don't want you to single anybody out, but do other actors at that same kind of commitment when they make it, that they make a conscious effort to bring back something back to people they left behind?
You know, some people do and some people don't. You know, everybody's got to live by their own code. You know, the code for me is that I can't, move forward and not help those, where I can't. Because I was a kid, my father was not there. My mother, we were on welfare for a lot of years when she raised 4 kids on her own. So I understand that. But I understand too that there were certain mentors in my life, when I was coming up that really spoke to me. And so I try to do the same thing now. That's just my mission. I think we all, like on one part, Robert Townsend is one part minister, and my ministry is movies and television because I can speak to millions of people. Like when this film is all said and done, it'll be on all the television networks, HBO, BET, Centric, and millions of people will get the message. Like, she was talking about the 5 heartbeats. I've gotten people that have come up to me that said, I didn't speak to my brother for 10 years, and that movie made me forgive him. And so I know there's lessons there. I mean, I had one cat that came up to me one time, and he was like, Robert Townsend, I need to talk to you, man, at 5 heartbeats. He says, I was strung out on drugs when I saw the movie. He says, I saw it in this movie theater, and I was high. And he says, all of a sudden, I started to watch the movie because I was just sitting there just to watch. And he says, I thought Eddie King was dead, and then when he showed up at the church, and I saw how God worked in his life, I knew God could work in my life. Because that's the day I got off the heroin. So I know how powerful media can be, and so, for me, I continue on my mission, and so that's why, I want to thank, Wes for bringing me here, because the film has been getting all kinds of, you'll see, those of you that can make the film tonight, it will touch your heart. It will really touch your heart. I mean, we've screened it. I had a screening for the NAACP a couple of times. Ben Jealous, the president of the NAACP, loves the movie. He says it's kind of like Boys in the Hood meets Menace to Society with hope. And that's the way I look at it because it's very edgy and it's very real. Other questions? Yes, sir.
You say it's based on a true story. Is that based like on a novel or just experience?
No. There is a woman named Vivian Saunders who had a school called the Hive in North Carolina. And basically, she was the cook of the school. And all these boys kept getting kicked out for gang banging and drug dealing and all this stuff. And they called them the discarded boys. And so basically, she said, bring all the boys to me. I will teach them. And she figured out a way. You'll see it in the movie tonight, what she did. And all of a sudden, these boys started to get involved in school. They started dropping out of games. They tried to stop drug dealing because she spoke to them, but she spoke to them with tough love. And so that's what the film is about.
Is there any little thing that you would call your signature work, piece of work?
That I would consider my signature.
Everybody talks about 5 heartbeats, about Hollywood Shuffle, but is there any little thing that you would say would be your signature piece of work?
Nah.
I want to get out of here.
No, the thing is that I've been blessed to do so many different kinds of things. So my body of work is, so different. Like when people look at Meteor Man, one part of me is Meteor Man, superhero, first African-American superhero. Then I think about a film like Holiday Heart that I directed, which is a different kind of story. Then 10,000 Black Men Named George, was yet another kind of movie. Directed the Little Richard story, the Natalie Cole story. I like their journeys. It's all different. It's all different. And, there's not one because there's a kid in me, and then the 5 heartbeats, I grew up on the Temptations. So when the Temptations broke up, I wanted to tell a story. This film right here is, In the Hive, is really dedicated to my boys, some of them that didn't make it. Some that got incarcerated in Cook County and Joliet, and then some that just got killed because they were, at the wrong place, the wrong time. So, how do we save the youth? So that's why all my movies speak to different things. So I can't really just go like that.
Well, you take a person, an actor that you work with that you really enjoy being with.
Is there one actor in particular that
or group?
Everybody I work with, the only person that I haven't worked with who's my godfather is Sidney Poitier. He's the one person I want to work know, I mean, I'm trying to think if there's anybody, and see, everything, you know, with all actors, it's all different, you know what I mean? I've worked with Denzel, I've worked with, you know, Angela Bassett, Beyonce, you know, so I've worked with almost everybody. Billy D. Williams was fun to work with on Diary. Loretta Devine is powerful, you know, in this film that you'll see tonight for those that come. Yes, and then you.
Do you have any other projects in mind to create more movies to send out positive message in different areas?
My next film that I've been scouting locations in Miami is a romantic comedy that I wrote, and so that's going to be my next one. I've never really done a love story, you know, and this one it's set in the world of high school basketball, and I play a coach, and I'm looking forward to it. I'm looking forward to that, you know, because I like romantic comedies, and so I'm just putting it together now. I'm going to have all these young basketball players, and it's kind of like, I don't want to say Love Actually because I like different movies, but it's all these different love stories that happen in the world of high school basketball. Yes, sir.
Who are some of your mentors now for your career, like as of right now?
Well, Sidney Poitier is on the top. Bill Cosby. When I was doing a show called The Parenthood for 5 years on the WB, I was on the phone with Bill Cosby all the time, and even times I had problems on the show, I would call him, and you know, he calls me Bobby. He goes, "Bobby, this is what you do, Bobby. Bobby, this is what you do." And so he's been like an incredible mentor. But different people. Bob Johnson from BET is a mentor. Magic Johnson has been a great mentor for me as well. You know, we have like our little business classes, and he's really smart. Yes, ma'am.
Mine's just a comment. They say there's a saying that it takes a village to raise a child.
Yes.
I thank you for taking that and making it go with your life. Because your line of work, what you do, what you have done, is raising people. It's helping people look at life from a different perspective. I know because I look at all your movies. I own them. I look at them. When I want to look at TV on Saturdays, I put my movies in. And I have a lot of Robert Townsend movies that I just put in and I look at because of that. And some DVDs from Parent Trap.
Parenthood.
Parenthood. I have some of those. My twin did them for me, so because he loved that show. So that's what I do. So thank you for, you know, intertwining and taking that to heart, because that's what I think you do with your life. You're doing what your life is, helping to raise the village.
Well, you know who really put that in my head was Mr. Cosby. He said, you know, like, because when I was doing the Parenthood, there was a part of me that I wasn't going to do it because I was like, I don't know if I want to do a series. And then he said, Robert, you will raise a whole generation of kids. And now I see all these kids. Good morning, gentlemen. Come on in, grab a seat. Good morning, guys. Good morning. Come on in. Come on in. How you doing? I'm Robert Townsend. Hello. Hello, my brother. How you doing? I got nothing but love. Good morning, brother. How you doing? How you doing? All right. Good morning, sir. How you doing? How you doing? Good morning.
I saw you before.
Yeah, yes, sir. Good morning. Good morning. Have a seat. Come on in. Come on in. Have a seat over there. Slide on down. Slide down. Good morning, gentlemen. How's everybody doing? Good morning. Good morning. Good morning. Good morning. Good morning. Good morning. How are you doing, sir? Good morning. Good morning, sir. How you doing? Have a seat. Have a seat. Good morning, sir. Well, sit anywhere you want to sit. Anywhere you want to sit, guys. Have a seat. Have a seat. Good morning, sir. How you doing? Huh? Austin, that's me, man. Okay. So, brother, how you doing, man? My name's Al. Good to meet you, Al. So, why don't you close the door right here? Yeah, thank you. Thank you. Good morning, gentlemen. I was just having a discussion, talking about my film tonight. Now, are you guys going to be able to come to the movie tonight? Right. Yes. Oh, okay. All right. So, for those of you just joining right now, my name is Robert Townsend. I'm a writer, director, producer. I've done movies as well as television shows, all different kinds of movies. Tonight, my newest film will be screened here at the Sabathian Community Center. Sabathian Community Center. That's always a tongue twister for me. But anyway, and right now, any questions you guys have about movies or anything, or philosophy. I'm from the west side of Chicago. I grew up in one of the roughest neighborhoods on the west side of Chicago. I always had a dream as a little kid to make movies and television. I've been blessed for some 20-something years to make movies and television shows. Some of my films include The Five Heartbeats, Meteor Man, Hollywood Shuffle, directed Halle Berry in a film called Baps, worked with Angela Bassett recently on a film that's on BET right now called Of Boys and Men, did a couple of different television series, did Robert Townsend and His Partners in Crime on HBO, did Townsend Television on the Fox Network, and then did The Parenthood on the WB for about 5 years. So I've been blessed. My philosophy, for those of you that say, hey, how do you do what you do? It's always about going the extra mile. Let me tell you this story for you in the room to understand what hard times are. I hit a wall in Hollywood years ago. I went through a divorce, bad point in my life. I decided I was going to do something because in show business, I've always climbed mountains. I'm a ghetto boy. I come out of the ghetto, my father was not there, my mother raised 4 kids on her own. So I went to Africa and I did something crazy. I climbed a mountain. I climbed the highest mountain in Africa, Mount Kilimanjaro. And so for some of you that are going through things in life, let me explain to you what it is to climb a mountain. Because you may say, you made it to the top of the mountain, I made it to the top of the mountain. So I'm going to explain to you, what does it take to get to the top of the mountain? The first day I got to Africa, to get to the top of the mountain, you got to go to the rainforest. When it rains and when the sun comes out and the snow-capped mountains melt, the water goes down the mountain, and at the bottom of the mountain is nothing but mud. So the first part to climb up the mountain is going through the mud. You're walking through mud for 7 hours just to get to the next peak. 1 hour in the mud, I was feeling crazy. 2 hours in the mud, I felt crazier. 3 hours in the mud, I was like, I should have went to Jamaica. 7 hours later, I made it to the first peak. Now what I want to say to you about the mud is that part of the reason in life people don't, do or go and follow their path, nobody wants to go through the mud. Nobody wants to go through the mud. That's the first part of it, just getting through the mud. The second part of the climb up the mountain, and there was a gentleman taking me up to the mountain, and his name was Future. And I always said that I was following the future. The second day climbing up the mountain, he said, Robert, you got to learn how to breathe differently. And I said, what do you mean learn how to breathe differently? He says, because if you don't breathe the right way, there's a thing called altitude sickness. And you get sick and you start throwing up, and they got to take you down the mountain. So I had to learn to breathe differently. So for those of you on that path climbing the mountain, first phase, you got to get through the mud. A lot of people don't want to go through the mud. Second phase, you got to always remember to breathe. You got to remember to breathe. You got to say, okay, take a moment. I did something stupid. Future would make food for us, because he's your guy to take to the mountain. He would make food. And in the rainforest, you see the white monkeys jumping from the trees back and forth. And Future, made chicken one day. And I was eating the chicken, and I threw the bones, and I was throwing the bones, and Future said, Robert, what are you doing? And I said, well, I'm feeding the monkeys. And Future was like, no, Robert, nature will provide. Nature always provides. And what I learned in that moment is that this is a faith walk too. No matter what it looks like, God has your back. No matter what it looks like. Because as he was describing that to me, I kind of got it. Then here's the last phase of the mountain. 3 days going up the mountain, up the mountain, up the mountain. In the middle of the night, on the 6th day, Future wakes me up and he says, Robert, it's time to go to the top of the mountain. But we've got to go to the top of the mountain, top of that mountain in the middle of the night, 12 o'clock at night, because it's just a steep climb. And so for 7 hours in the darkness, I climbed to the top of the mountain. The reason we climbed in the middle of the night was that Future said if I saw it in the daytime, I would get dizzy and I would fall and I would die. Now what I learned in that moment is that that is the ultimate faith walk. Because we climbed in the darkness. I couldn't see anything for 7 hours going straight up the mountain. And so I say all of this to say, having really climbed the mountain, Some of you are in the mud right now. Some of you have got to breathe. And some of you do not know we walk by faith, not by sight. It's not what you see. It's what you feel and hear. So I thank all of you guys. Tonight you'll see the movie. The new film is called In the Hive. It stars Loretta Devine, Michael Clark Duncan, Vivica Fox. And I open it up for any other questions anybody has here. Any questions that anybody else has? That... Yes, right here, sir.
You talked about some of the personal issues that made you want to go to Africa and climb the mountain. What were some things that happened in the film industry that were struggles that you had to overcome?
Well, when I first started, my first film is based on, my first film was called Hollywood Shuffle. When I first got to Hollywood, I'm a young actor, I just want to play any kind of part. The first audition I got was for a pimp. And I just remember I told my mother was like, oh baby, be the best pimp you can be. The whole church was praying for me. Let's pray that Brother Robert gets the roll of silky. And then I auditioned for another one, another pimp, and another pimp. And I auditioned for slaves. I auditioned for a guy in the pool hall that knows all the information. And so I think that part of me started to die, and that's when the filmmaker was born. See, I think that sometimes, you just got to listen to what's going on. I was dealt a certain hand, and then I chose to play another hand. So I think for me, I've always looked at obstacles as opportunities. So my first film, and for those of you that are not familiar with my history, part of the reason I became Hollywood legend was that I was the first filmmaker to ever do a film with a credit card. And that's how I was born in the game. My first film was called Hollywood Shuffle. It was written by myself and Keenan Ivory Wayans. It starred, myself, Damon Wayans, John Weatherspoon, and it was like all these young actors. And it was really about my journey. And I figured out how to do a film with a credit card, and that's how, I really got started.
Wow.
The film was true. Huh?
That's a true rumor. It's a true story.
The true story.
Oh.
Yeah, so I did it, basically the film cost $100,000 and it went on to make $10 million. So it was like I was the first person.
I don't know if the story was true or was just a parable. About in Africa, was it a true story or just a parable?
The true story of the credit card?
No, about the climb to the mountain. Was it a true story?
That's a true story. I really went to Africa. I climbed Mount Kilimanjaro.
Okay.
And the reason I had to do it because like we hear about mountains and songs and everything, and then for me to come from the ghetto to Hollywood and make movies and television shows and work with everybody, I know that there's a certain walk, that God has his hand on me. And so then when I said I needed to climb that mountain, I needed to climb that mountain because I had to understand what it really takes. And then now I understand that it's the mud that everybody's afraid of. That's that first phase, and it can be dizzy, and it can make you crazy, and then once you get through it, the rest of it is still tricky along the way, but you can do it. Yes, sir, right here, I'm going to do.
I'm going to say, yeah, that's good. Like I said, my family is me from, West Side Comics and Larry, so I know, going to Austin High School, which had to come out, so that's an accomplishment in itself. But as you was going through your struggle with the other black actors, was that a support system? Did you have to go, to your family? And then, is it a good support system with black actors because really y'all was locked out, so to speak, without being locked out?
Well, one of the things that I love to say is that a waterfall starts with a single drop. It starts with one little drop, and then all of a sudden it starts to build. The thing for me was that we all knew the roles and images were negative and were wrong, but my role model was Sidney Poitier, so I go, I'll figure it out. So it's kind of like there wasn't a support group, and now the support group has gotten stronger. But I think for me as an artist, there's only a handful of artists in Hollywood, and I work with everybody. So the industry used to look really big and it's really small, and then those that really want to do something and make a difference, it's even smaller. So the thing for me is that I love what I do, and Bill Cosby said something to me. You can't take everybody with you. Like when you were asking a question about going to the community, some people care about the community and some people don't. It breaks my heart that a 5-year-old kid was killed because somebody was being crazy because they wanted revenge and they didn't care. And then we have to, one, teach each other to say there's another way. There's always another way. And whatever your life is, there are no accidents. Like today, I'm supposed to be here today.
That's right.
I could have been still in Miami at a film festival. I could be back in LA. But I'm here today because I'm supposed to speak to somebody. So part of this is for somebody tonight will see the movie and it will say, oh man, I was thinking about going left, but I really should go over here. Because here's the thing, there's a lot of distractions in life. And some of us get caught up, you make mistakes, and then you keep moving. You know what I'm saying? So I've been blessed and I feel like I'm here for a reason. It's not about making money, it's not about movies and television. I can reach people on a level, but then it's really about, when it's all said and done, did we do something while we were on this planet? When it was all said and done, if we make mistakes, can we get up? Like we fall down, but can you get back up? And that's the most important thing.
I actually have multiple questions.
You have multiple questions? Well, let's go one at a time.
The first one is, since you're in touch with the Black actresses in Hollywood, are you guys in sort of solidarity to support President Obama? And what are the Black people saying in Hollywood about whether they...
Well, no. I mean, the thing is that I just came from the Black Caucus in D.C., and so it is totally about supporting the president. Because here's the thing. What people don't understand is that he inherited a lot of stuff. There's a lot of confusion. And so, I feel that his heart is in the right place, but see, here's the thing. You got haters that are Republicans, you got haters that are Democrats, you got haters that just hate him because of the color of his skin. And he's trying to do what's right for this country. And there's a lot of these businesses, deals were made years ago that affect this economy. So when you think in terms of runaway jobs and all of that, there's a way that could have, Detroit doesn't have to lose all those jobs or the steel industry over, across town. The part of the thing is that we have to, one, let our voice be heard. So at the Black Caucus with Cleaver and with Clyburn, everybody's fighting a good fight, and this is going to be a fight, but I think it's great to see democracy in action. Everybody has a chance to vote. Everybody has a voice, and that's what America's all about. And so, yeah, it's going to be a fight. I mean, Mitt Romney's coming with his guns blazing, but I think that we too want justice on all levels. You know what I mean? It's like the whole thing with Trayvon Martin. And sometimes we are so small as a people that we do need each other. Like sometimes people go like, oh, I'm not going to pay my dues for the Urban League or the NAACP. So there's a lot going on in this country, but we need the voices. We need the voices here.
Okay. And the second question is, you have mentioned several times about making it. And so my question to you is, what does that really mean? And to the parents and uncles and aunts and people who are in the neighborhood who will never get a chance to do the things that you're doing, does that mean that they haven't?
No. I'm only, let me be clear. God uses everybody and gives everybody different skills. Like God is using Wes right now. Wes brought me here. So he is the challenge to bring me here. So his organization is doing what, my ministry is with film and television. So it's not so much, the only reason I'm here right now is as a symbol. Okay, to say to these gentlemen right here, if you say, well, hey Robert, I got an idea for a business and I want to do a business, and then you say, well, Robert Townsend didn't go to film school, Robert Townsend didn't graduate from college, but he just learned and taught himself. So for those of you that have ideas and dreams, you can dream and you can win. So that's part of what I'm here for. It's not to say, because if somebody says, well, my father wasn't there, I can say my father wasn't there. We were on welfare. I was on welfare. I was in the ghetto. So then if somebody says, well, what's the difference? It says, well, I just go the extra mile. And I stay on my knees. I pray up. So sometimes people don't understand. See, here's the thing. When I was a kid, there was a song that we used to sing in the choir. My father's rich with houses and land. He holds the wealth of the world. And we used to sing this song. And I was 9 years old. And it says, you know, I am so glad I am a child of the Most High King, child of the King. And so anyway, that song stayed in my head, and I believe the lyrics of the song. If I'm the child of the King, I can do anything. And sometimes we don't apply God. You know, I don't want to get to a whole sermon, but we don't apply God. And it's like, it's one thing to say, if you believe and you have faith, we serve a powerful God. And I think sometimes people don't understand because we walk by faith and not by sight. If you just see the ghetto and you see lack and you see, then there's no way out. But I always went through like this, like, okay, I serve the most powerful God. I can do anything, all things. And boom. Now some people go like, yeah, but I can't even tithe because, you know, I believe in God, but I don't really believe. So it's a faith walk. Yes, sir.
Curiosity, did you say that you went through a divorce?
Yes.
Once your divorce was final, and did you ever get married again? Was that part of having a wife? Is that a good support group?
It is. I mean, if you have, you know, here's the thing that I would say, you know, I was young. I didn't know the right questions to ask. I'd love to get married again. If I find the right woman, I'd love to get married again. I didn't know what questions to ask. Because sometimes you see a beautiful woman and you go like, I want to get married. But you don't say, well, on love on first sight. So you don't say, well, what do you believe? How do you feel about this? What do you think about this? How do you think about kids? Blah, 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 blah. So sometimes it's, because see, we have a thing in terms of communication where we're not taught to really communicate and drill down. Because we get into the whole thing of it feels good, instead of saying like, well, how can I be a better friend to you? How can I be a better lover to you? How can I be a better husband on so many different levels?
So later on down the road, you can't miss it. It'd be a distraction.
Well, no. The thing that I would say is that, you know, we're all, my marriage is a testimony. So it's part of my journey. So everything that happened, know that God has his hands, you know, everything that happens, it's all a part of the master plan. Because then I can speak to men and I can say, this is what a real man is, this is what a real man ain't. If you're going to be there, be there. If you ain't going to be there, then stay away. Be honest, be true, be real. Because see what happens a lot of times, people don't talk real talk. As you can hear me, you can feel my energy. I believe in real talk. So I grew up around gangbangers and drug dealers and pimps, all that nonsense. So I saw it firsthand, little boy, I saw it firsthand. So then I was like, oh, well, I don't understand because I'm watching one part television and one part reality.
Oh, that's good. My thing is, where do I remain in my faith with that kind of a vision?
Well, let me say this. You know, first off, when stuff comes into your spirit like that, it's nothing but God. When it comes into you, like in my bloodstream, it's nothing but, you know, okay, Robert, you know, this is the movie you got to do. Or like the 5 Heartbeats, for example. I didn't even have auditions. I would just meet actors and say, you're Choir Boy, you're going to be Eddie Kane, you're going to be Big Red. I didn't even have auditions. I was just like that. And we all went to church together. I had the whole cast go to church with me. And I said, we're going to rock and roll. Here's what I would say to you in terms of your vision. It is one, it's what we call the salami theory. The salami is like this, and it's just one little piece. And you write it down because then you say, okay, this is the march. I want 1 million people here, okay? 12 people that can make phone calls for me. What venue? Where should it be? How do you get there? And you just do it very simple. And you put it all in writing. It's all just writing. It's all paper. All I do is just visualize. You just visualize what it is. And then you pray on it. You meditate on it. It's one step at a time. And then people will show up. Other people will show up to say, hey, let me help you, brother. I know da-da-da-da-da-da, and we could do this. Hey, I'm with this church over here, and I'm with this church over here, and over here, and then all of a sudden, everybody goes, and we can all tweet about it, and we can all get on Facebook, and then 1 million people could be identified. But it's all like slow, take your time. What happens, everybody thinks the salami theory, like, this is my idea, 1 million people. You know, no, it's like, okay, who's gonna make the phone calls? Where can the venue, where can we meet? Right. How can we talk? Right. hey, I like that philosophy. Hey, somebody might have a better idea. Hey, you know, that's, you just take your time. Like doing a movie, everybody goes like, it's a movie. No, the next movie is a romantic comedy that I'm doing. I wrote the script, then now I'll say, okay, I want Mike Epps to play one of the parts with me. I want Nia Long to be in it. And they'll say yes or no. So again, you're going to have to find people that will say, I get your vision, and some people may not get your vision. Haters. See, here's the thing, what you have to understand. There will be fights along the way. There is other forces that will hold you down. In the middle of the night, there are always demons that come into your brain that will fight you. And you got to learn how to keep the demons at bay. You have to pray them away. Part of the struggle that everybody's in is the demons that come in and go, hey, do this. And you know you should be over there. You know you should be over there. But they go, come on, man. Come on, man. That's the spiritual warfare that we're all a part of. I'm a part of it, everybody in this room. We've all got demons that come to us, but it's like, can you keep the demons at bay? Can you pray them away? Are you strong enough? Because everybody is not your friend. Along your journey, gentlemen, everybody is not your friend. They may say they're your friend, but it's like the person that has your cell phone. The one that you can say, I'm feeling really good. They go like, oh man, that ain't working. That person. And see, sometimes the spirit can get on your kids and get on your wife, your girlfriend, your mom and your dad. And then it goes away. So you got to understand, so your mission, you have to understand that when stuff comes into your spirit, it is given to you for a reason. There's no accident. I listen to God. I really do. I really do. I mean, I'm not here. I mean, that's the reason she said, why are you going in the hood? Because, you know, we need it the most. We will sit in front of the idiot box and watch all those reality shows and all that crap hour after hour after hour after hour after hour after hour. So then at some point somebody's got to say, you're watching crap. And you're like, damn, Robert Townsend said we're watching crap. Yeah, you're watching crap. So at some point you got to wake up. And when you wake up, you can't go backwards. Like you're awake now. So you can't go backwards. If you go backwards to do any dumb stuff, you'll be going like, what am I doing? In this facility, you know, you talk about turning points. It's about waking people up. Just say, walk in your power, man. Don't be afraid of your light. What it is that sometimes you're afraid of your light because it's like, I can give you all the reasons why I'm not a filmmaker. I couldn't be a filmmaker. I shouldn't be in the game. I should have been dead a long time ago. Half my boys were some of the best drug dealers in Chicago. And I could have rolled with them easily, but I was like, I don't want to end up in a cell. I don't want to be in a cage like an animal. Yes, sir.
Yeah, if you will, just briefly describe how you overcame those vices, you know, and I'm curious about that, about being in the gangs of selling drugs and how you left that to, I mean, did you have any training?
Here's the thing, I had to cut certain people out of my life. Because even though they were like, man, we boys, man, Rob, we boys, man, come on, man. I was like, you're not my boy. You're not my boy. You're not even my friend. You're like, I want you to sell this for me, man. Just go across the way, you know, da-da-da-da-da-da-da. Wait a minute. I go to jail, you don't go to jail.
Right.
How much do you make and how much do I make? And how does it get in the country? Oh, so we just low-level drug dealers on this level. So when I go visit my boys in Cook County, I'm like, I go in there, hey man, how you doing, man? I ain't doing good. One of my boys got raped in jail. He was never the same. He was never the same. It broke my heart. It broke my heart. He was a good kid. He was just trying to make a little money. And I was like, the short-term money is the wrong-term money. Okay, the short-term. So part of it is you got to seek out those that are truly for you. Because when I go back to my own neighborhood, it's all these cats going, Robert Townsend, man, you know, let me hold a few dollars. Robert Townsend, man. Remember when we started out, Robert Townsend? Yo, man. Some of those same cats were the ones that was like laughing at me because I had a hole in my shoe because we were on welfare and I had to put cardboard in. When I used to do push-ups, I had to keep my leg down a certain way. And those were the cats that was clowning me. So then now, take a picture with my kid. Robert Townsend, come over here, take a picture with my kid. And I go, sure. But I remember, but I don't hold anything because, so part of the mission to you is that once you've learned the lessons you've learned here, I don't care how old you are, because it's not about age. It has nothing to do with age. If, you know, like your ladder shall be greater. So if you choose to take the admission, part of the thing is that some of us, that fear, we're afraid, it's scared, it's scary, because what if I fail? It doesn't really matter. It doesn't really matter. It's like if you say tomorrow, your vision that God gave you, you say, hey, you know, it's not about how old you are. It's like, okay, well, let's go. Let's go to work. 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 You ready? You ready? You ready? Let's go. But if you're like, you know, like, I think I can do it. I ain't really trusting God on this thing right here. I feel like I could be something bigger and huge and I could take it to another level, but you ain't believing. Once you believe, it's all yours. But see, you can't be here's the thing. Here's the imagery, gentlemen. You're all mighty, strong eagles, but you're hanging around pigeons. You know, my mentor, I was telling him, is Sidney Poitier. When I was a kid, I used to watch all these images of people of color on the television, but they was mostly, no, I don't even know. And then there was Sidney Poitier, because they called me Mr. Tibbs. When I first got to Hollywood, he was the one person I wanted to meet because as a kid, I saw those images of a man of color with dignity. Not, you know, who do there, second boy? Not none of that stuff. So I met him and I said, Mr. Poitier, how did you get to have dignity in the 50s? And he said, Robert, the power to say no. I didn't accept everything. No to that role, no to that role, no to that role, no to that role. Then he said, there were men that had character, that wanted to see change. They worked with me, those directors. So, if you build it, they will come. If you build it, they will come. You know, you just got to know that it ain't for you to figure it all out. That's why I'm like, don't, because if you ask, you know, and see, we are prideful people. We don't, I don't want to ask nobody. No, you got to ask sometimes. Hey, I need a little help over here. Hey, I need a little help. It don't make you a punk. Just means that you don't have all the answers. You'll get, you know, I didn't know how to make film. So I had to go like, I don't know how to shoot. Tell me, okay, the camera's got to be over here. You write a script like this. So it doesn't make me stupid. It just means like I got to learn. I'll be in school for the rest of my life. Technology keeps changing. Either you catch up to where everybody is or you're a dinosaur. I got to keep learning. I got to learn about Twitter. I got to learn about Facebook. I got to learn social network. I got to learn about all that stuff. I'm still in school. I mean, the thing to me is that those that I work with are just some of the best spirits in Hollywood. Good people that believe what I believe. And we just work hard. I mean, hard work pays off. There's no undercut for that. But see, the only thing that I would say, like, take this room for example. Take this room for example. And the only thing that I would say is that if you were talking about reaching people right now, and if everybody in this room had 500 friends on Facebook, and another there, and they had friends, you can reach close to 1 million people, like my man was talking about his project. You can reach close to 1 million people with just the people in this room right now. If everybody's friends said da-da-da-da-da-da, and they had friends, So now it's a different kind of time. Yes, sir.
Yeah, I seen all your movies, and I seen you sing with Howard Henry at one time. You did your own show.
Right.
And I said, if I ever met you, I said I was going to do something.
What's that?
Is there a heart